Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Thursday, August 31st, and we're talking about playoffs. I'm Jordie from Barstool, and with me, as always, we've got Doogs coming to us live from the Take Factory. Doogs, PLL playoffs are about to begin in Boston on Labor Day Monday. We've got 3 games on deck, 7 teams still fighting their way for a chance to play in Philly, the Paris of Pennsylvania, the mecca of the lacrosse world on September 24th. It all gets going this week. How we feeling heading into the quarterfinals?
Good. I'll be there in Boston on Monday. Should be a great time. Also, isn't Pittsburgh the Paris of Pennsylvania, or is that or am I missing that reference right there?
Pittsburgh might be like the Paris of hell. Like if you put Pittsburgh in hell, like it might be the nicest place there. Other than that, you know what? I do feel bad. Like I feel like Pittsburgh, it's an underrated city, but I fucking just hate all their fans. I hate Mark Madden.
I hate Mark Madden, but so do all the Pittsburgh guys.
Yeah, that is true. It is something that we all. I mean, like, I don't know. Mac Miller's cool. Mac Miller's cool. I do like the fact that they all have the same team color. Like all the teams have the same colors. Like that's kind of cool. It gets annoying at times. It's like, all right, like first off, black and yellow. It's a sweet color combo, but I don't know if anyone actually looks good wearing it. I think. Is Army? Yeah. I mean, I guess like ROTC kids, like when they go for their like early morning runs, but they like, I feel like you look like such a dweeb wearing black and yellow. I think as a team, like a team logo, it looks sweet. But I feel like it just an ordinary person walking around in that much black and yellow, you look like a nerd. Or maybe it's just the people. I think that the people of Pittsburgh are probably ugly people.
I agree with that. I meant more in the sense like thinking like black, who could rock black and yellow. Like I think that it would be a seamless transition for a Army lacrosse player to wear black and yellow for a Pittsburgh professional lacrosse team.
Yeah, I mean they're probably wearing black cleats, black socks. But yeah, no, I don't know if anyone in the city of Pittsburgh is a good enough looking person to pull it off. So maybe that's why it just doesn't play. But yeah, I don't know. I hate their fans. I hate Mark Madden, but I do feel like it is an underrated. It's a perfectly fine city. I don't know. Fuck it. They're not the Paris of Pennsylvania though. That strictly belongs to Philly.
Fine. No rebuttal from me, but I will say that Pittsburgh is a very, very underrated city. It deserves it. You would think that it's just like you walk into the city and it's just like black smog, gross rivers, like nothing to do there. It exceeds all my expectations. I'd actually go on
the architecture's a little weird. It looks like they're like trying to be like Gotham.
I love that. I mean, you think of Gotham, you think of Pittsburgh. I personally stamp of approval for Pittsburgh. I love it.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that I love it. I would say that it's underrated. I feel like you can go there, find some like good like. I feel like it's a great place if you're looking to get like a lunch. Like I feel like Pittsburgh probably rocks as a lunch city.
Yeah, I'd put it up there with Philly for going out. I've had just as much fun in both cities.
I'm thinking like a day drink lunch city. I don't know if I want to be in Pittsburgh at night.
I like Pittsburgh at night. I had a better time in Pittsburgh at night than Philly at night, but I also know that Philly at night from other people's words and
well, from Billy entertaining clients as well.
Right. I mean, yeah, I guess in Philly after the championship, we did have fun. And we'll have fun this year after the Water Dogs win it again, right? That's my pick. Little spoiler right there. That's my pick to win it all. But we'll get into the games.
Yeah, getting right into it. Water Dogs, they'll have a chance. I mean, they'll have to get past the Whip Snakes first on Monday at 2:20 p.m. Before we get into our playoff preview, though, I mean, there was a whole slate of games to close out the regular season this past weekend in Salt Lake City, going back to the bubble. So pretty eventful weekend that ended with some fireworks. I think the biggest takeaway from last week's slate of games is the fact that obviously the boys are listening to the podcast. They heard us say we're dying for a scrap. We want to fight. I will say that the dust up, but I still would probably call it a dust up between Chaos and Chrome. So obviously, if anyone here listening didn't get a chance to see it, it all starts third quarter of the game. Cromer down by a few goals. Nick Rowlett wins another face-off, and as the Chaos are going down the field, Connor Farrell steps up, sets I would call it a greasy pick. I don't think it was like an egregiously bad pick. I thought as far as play, like it wasn't overly dirty. I would just call it greasy. Steps up, sets a pick, puts his shoulder down. Thing about Connor Farrell is that he's a massive individual. So just took Nick Rowlett clean off the ground. And then Ian McKay comes running in. The rest of the Chaos come running in. We got benches clear and a lot of guys grabbing a lot of helmets in here. Not a lot of punches thrown, but it was just enough juice to kind of scratch that itch that I was looking for.
Yeah, here's the video I'll pull up as the best producer in the lacrosse podcast game. Here we go. Do you see it?
Yeah, well, I can see it. Anyone who's an idiot who's not watching this episode on YouTube won't be able to see it, though. So, again, make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube because that's how you get the best content around from producer Doogs. If he ever finds out how to hit play on this video, though. There we go.
Yeah, I'm just botching this.
I mean, my favorite thing that happened here is because Connor Farrell knows exactly what he's doing, right? He lowers his shoulder. He knows that he's looking to lay a little bit of a hurting on Nick Rowlett with that pick. I don't think he was looking to like kill the guy, but he knows what he's doing. He knows that he's looking to deck him. And the first thing he does is immediately goes palms up. Like, what did I do? And it's like, dude, you know exactly what you did, but I'm sorry. I didn't know that was illegal. Like I thought this was America. So hands up right away. Just like, I didn't do anything. Meanwhile, you've got a guy who's pretty much dead on the ground. Now, to Nick Rowlett's credit, he did pop up. I don't know if he joined in on the scrap afterwards, but Jack Rowlett immediately jumped in. Big brother coming to the rescue. So yeah, fireworks there. Was great to see. Obviously, for some frustration from the Chrome. I mean, what a dog shit summer that ends up being. Like, dude, to win in the first week of the season and then you don't win again the rest of the summer. That's 2 full months of losing. So
hilarious. I think I had them at the end of week 1 as my number 1 team in the power rankings. Because especially like at that time, there's no Malloy cross controversy. You're like, oh, if anything, like you got like a good rookie who to play alongside Dylan Malloy. Like there was no controversy there. Like I talked myself into them just being good. What a bad take. What a bad take. But I will say this about the fight. It was just a classic, like, I'm a football player. Like he saw the pick coming. It was a very illegal screen. I mean, that's one. I think it was the dirtiest play of all time.
So I don't know though. Like he went
only because he went like this, because he didn't just stay still.
Right, but he dropped his shoulder. Like I don't know. He feet were planted. Yeah, he dropped his shoulder. Like
he didn't stay set. Is like how I saw it. Like, do I think it was like the dirtiest thing ever? No, he kind of was preparing for impact a little bit. Like that's how I viewed it. I mean, it just looked like when something looks that bad. Like I have this take like with the unnecessary roughness is like sometimes it has to look so bad that you just throw the flag because you're like, I don't really know if it was illegal. It just looked illegal. It looked illegal.
Yeah, that it was an optics penalty for sure.
Right. And I thought that like the thing that I liked the Chaos responding to it during the moment and stuff. I could probably guess that they were saying that Farrell was a scumbag, loser, motherfucker, all that shit. But like, in the same sense, you would kind of think that's a Chaos style, not like being like dirty players, but hits, setting the tone, aggressive. I don't know. I loved the fight. I liked that they had Nick's back right away. I like that Farrell didn't stand back from it. Like I don't know. Those are 2 teams that I could see that carrying into next year because sadly the Chrome won't play again this year. But next year they're leaking over.
Yeah, I don't know how much it'll carry over for the Chrome, especially because I don't know how many of those same guys will end up being on that team. But I will say it was like if I'm the other 6 teams in the playoffs right now, I am pretty pissed off at the Chrome for giving the Chaos this type of juice heading into the playoffs. Obviously, like this is a tight team. Like so many of these guys play together all year round with the Bandits, and they're pretty tight knit. Then you have brothers Rowlett in there. Like it's a tight knit team to begin with. But this was a classic one of those ones where it's like you go out with your boys and you get into a little scrap, and then like everyone just like at the end of the night talking about like, oh yeah, like dude, that was all like, did you see me over there? And it's like no one actually did anything, but at the end of a dust up like this, like everyone's just like, oh yeah, like I would have killed him if I got loose, and everyone's like, yeah, like oh you were about to get like just like a nice little like bonding. Yeah, it's a hold me back, but one that really brings the whole group together over how much you could have whooped their ass. Mm-hmm. And then you have that juice now bringing you into the playoffs. So, I mean, especially if I'm the Redwoods, a team that, things haven't been going that great in the second half of the season. Now you draw the Chaos, and now, they're as tight as, they've been all summer. And then they have, just all that raging testosterone coursing through their bodies at the moment. Like the Redwoods are probably in for a tight draw on Monday, I guess late morning.
Yeah. Are we hopping right into that game? Or are we still going to go back and?
Let's just real quick. I mean, anything else from Utah stand out to you? I know we had some more fireworks with the Water Dogs Archers final. So Archers were up by 2 with about like 30 seconds to go. Jack Hanna, one of the slickest 2 bombs that we'll see all summer. Just a nice little high bouncer. Guy bounced it, a good 5 to 7 yards outside of the cage, top deck. And then Kieran McCardle cleaning up some trash after the ensuing face-off to win that one. So Water Dogs Archers was a wild finish. Cannons over Whip Snakes. I feel like we talked about that before the game, saying that, obviously the Cannons had a lot riding on this game with the Holman's history in Utah. And I mean, Atlas, again, you know what? So do you have anything about Water Dogs Archers?
The only thing I'll say is that was one of the sickest endings of lacrosse, and my girlfriend was watching that game with me on Friday night, and she
brag.
Yeah, that was not even a humble brag. It's just like a brag. Like I have a girlfriend. You losers don't. You're incels. I'm not. But yeah, she legitimately in front of my eyes became a PLL fan. It was pretty cool to see. She was like, "Oh, that goal by that 2-pointer by Hannah, that was nasty," and then she legitimately stood up when Kieran McCardle scored that with like time winding out. She went like this. She did like oh my god. So that was kind of cool to see. I was gonna post a video of her because I completely got it, but don't need the creeps and the freaks to see that, to get into that. But yeah, it was good. It was fun.
It's a sad world when Doogs can't even post a video of his girlfriend being excited about some lax.
Who's not excited about some lax?
Because there are too many freaks out there on the internet who will try to end up stalking her. But so if any of you out there are freaks, change your behavior right away, because we would love to get some of those videos later down the road. Yeah, I mean, pretty like sick ending there. As soon as like you kind of felt something was about to happen with that ensuing fate, like whether it was Sis taking it down and scoring, or Zach Currier doing exactly what he did and just hounding down Mike Sisselberger after he won that face off, laying out, throwing the check, getting the cause turnover, and then ball going down the other way. So like you knew, I don't know, it never felt like after that Jack Hanna goal, there was probably like 30 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
Once that ball was down for the face off, like that next face off, like you kind of felt like this thing's not going to overtime. Like there's too much time on the clock. Like something crazy is about to happen there. And probably the craziest one of them all did. So it's, Zach Currier stripping Sis, ball goes down the other way. Washuda ends up with it in his stick and just like power cradles a little too hard, and it comes out, and Kieran McCardle's there to pick up the trash. So tough look for Washuda. Great look for Brett Dobson. That kind of locks him in for goalie of the year, clearly. But all right. So now that we're done with that and Cannons, Whip Snakes. Oh, you got anything?
I got one more for the weekend.
Yep. Hit me. Well, no, I was okay. I got one more for the weekend after this, but it's about Atlas Redwoods.
You go. I won't steal it.
No, you go. No, you go.
No. This is your show. You started the show. You go.
Well, what I want to say right now is that after this past weekend, the PLL really needs to figure something out with the fact that 7 out of the 8 teams make the playoffs, because in no world should the Atlas be a playoff team. Like I get that technically they're the 7th place team and 17, but like, dude, the fact that you go into this game, the fact that you went into the last 2 games controlling your own, it's like all you guys got to do is just win a game, win one lacrosse game, and you'll lock up your spot in the playoffs. All you have to do is go out there and win one. They go out in Seattle, and what do? They drop a tight one to the Cannons. All right, so be it. You still have one more time to go out there. You win this game, like you clinched your spot into the playoffs. Granted, it would only be 3 wins, but you still did enough to what you had to do. All they had to do was go out there and take care of business. They got fucking stomped 12-7 by the Redwoods. And to lose that game, and then to end up seeing them on social, whoever's running their social, making the fucking graphic where they clinched their playoff spot. It's like, dude, you guys didn't clinch shit. You won 2 games all summer. You've lost like 5 out of your last 6. Like, you didn't clinch. You just got lucky that the Chrome are the worst team ever assembled. So I don't know. Like 7 teams. It's and I get like, all right. So you want to try to make the 1 seed have some sort of an advantage, right? You want to give the 1 seed a bye, and the only way to do that would be to either have 7 teams in the playoffs, or if you just did, I guess what, 5 teams in the playoff, and then you'd only do like a semifinals, and then I don't even know how else you do it. Like, I get that you have such low numbers that you kind of have to do this, but I don't know. Just watching the Atlas make the playoffs this year, really, really going to grind my gears seeing them get a chance to, especially if they win. And I know that the Chaos have done this before, where they like don't do shit, right, and then they go on and play for the championship, and it's just, I don't know, it's a tough look.
I was saying that exact thing. Is like, I've disagreed with you in years past. I think you said the same exact thing maybe last year about the Chaos. Like, you know that they're going to prove you wrong. You know they're going to be in the championship, but they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. I have 2 thoughts. One, this seems like a year like the Atlas should not be in the playoffs. They were supposed to be probably ranked as like a top 2 team coming into the year. They suck. They're not even like, as like players, they suck. As a team, they suck. Individually, it's probably one of the more talented rosters on paper. They suck. The other thing I was going to say is I wouldn't actually mind if it was 7 teams if they just, could we just agree, like, it just has to end on Labor Day. It just has to end on Labor Day. Labor Day Monday being the championship would be ideal. I get you don't want it to leak into the NLL season, but if it leaked into the NLL season, I wouldn't care as much about the 7 teams. Like, if it just with 7 teams made the playoffs, because the order wouldn't matter as much. Your team kind of comes in just drought in August. I would not care as much about 7 teams being in there. I'd have less complaints. That's my one thing that I kind of thought of. But for the most part, I agree with you. It's got to be like 5. It would make that 6, like, or just expand the league in general. But I agree with you. Like, yeah, we should not be in the playoffs.
No,
I agree with that take. I
agree. Like, if we were watching a championship game this coming Monday, like it'd be a great way to spend a Labor Day to watch a championship game. The fact that we're going to be spending a Labor Day, so like the last day of the summer, watching a fucking dog shit Atlas team at 5:00 in the afternoon, a team that really doesn't deserve to be playing anymore this summer, does sting a little bit. So yeah, would have been nice where, yeah, if you're going to have 7 teams, 7 out of 8 teams make the playoffs, let's get it out of the way earlier. Let's not waste the last day of the summer to watch a team that only won 2 games this summer play at 5 p.m.
Look, this only comes from a big brain guy like myself. Why not just do 25-man rosters for the semifinals? Do semifinals on Saturday, do finals on Monday. Do like the NCAA does it. You want to do a family weekend? You want to do like the PLL circus comes to town, get your family out? What better way? And NCAA kills it. The PLL would kill it with a full weekend event, like at Gillette or something like that. I'd like to see something like that proposed. I'm sure that I'm not the first person that's thought of something like that, but I like the idea.
I love the idea, especially because, like, I remember the first year that they had it. So championship was in Philly, but they had the championship game in Philly. But then they also, before that game, had the losers bracket to where you were playing for the first overall pick. So you still had 2 games on that day. It does feel like you should be able to have a couple more games for that championship weekend. So yep, hand up, Doogs. I'll call on you. Go ahead.
For the record, that was the best idea. That the losers bracket thing, I was like, that's revolutionary. That like you can't really
you can't tank.
You can't tank. Like that was that idea. And again, maybe this is the year that they needed that rule with the Chrome tanking on purpose at one point. I'm not saying that, but I know that people like Dan Aresti are probably saying that. No, I don't know why I threw Dan on the bus with that. I'm just using any writer.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a fine line that you have to walk between. Are you tanking or are you guys just dog shit? And I think I don't know. I think that the Chrome were clearly on one side of that. I think that they were just a bad team. Yeah. But I agree. It's a long summer. It's a long season of lacrosse that, goes all the way back to the start of the college season. It does kind of linger on here in the month of September. So it would be nice to see them kind of condense everything. Let's get a semifinals and a championship all in one weekend. And then we don't really have to worry about competing with the NFL all that much. Because listen, if you're someone out there that doesn't think that lacrosse will forever get steamrolled in ratings by the NFL, then you're an idiot. You got to take off the goggles at some point.
Yeah, it just gets crushed. Doesn't matter if it's on ABC, NBC, CBS. It gets quadrupled. I mean,
dude, it could be Cardinals versus Colts preseason game. Two of the worst teams in the league, and they're still NFL's king. So
Labor Day Monday being a championship being on Labor. I mean, we say it every year, and it's maybe the most aggravating thing. I feel like they want to listen to the fans, but they're not listening to me. It should 100% be Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, Memorial Day to Labor Day. Boom. Own the summer. Take over the summer. And you can get people to watch that on Labor Day. You can get people to watch a championship game on Labor Day. No doubt about it. I don't know how many new people are going to be flocking to the TV to be watching. Especially because these games. So you got one game on ESPN2. So the one nationally televised game is going to be Atlas versus Cannons. Atlas, again, they're on paper, they're still a really talented team who have the chance to make this an interesting game. But I mean, Cannons are up 2-0 on this series. The one game was close. That was, just a couple weeks ago. But the first game that these guys played, the Cannons just dick kicked the Atlas. So if you get a dick kicking on a nationally televised game on Labor Day and what could be a championship game instead, if you went Memorial Day to Labor Day, I don't know. I just feel like I totally agree with you. It would be such an easier way to get non-lacrosse fans into the game because you see how much it works with Memorial Day.
Can we also call this the first home game for the Boston Cannons?
Suppose we could.
Yeah.
Were they not there at all last season?
I guess I meant it more in the sense that home teams coming next year.
Okay.
But they did play 2 years ago. Their first game ever was in Gillette. And they dropped a heartbreaker. It was the Paul Rabel's back game. That's when I got clowned on Twitter.
Never forget.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's, speaking of Boston. Yeah. So everyone is shipping up to Boston. We've got 3 games on Labor Day Monday at Gillette. It gets going 11:45 a.m., 2:20 p.m., 5 o'clock p.m. All of those are Eastern. First couple games are going to be streaming on ESPN Plus, and then obviously, as I just mentioned, Atlas versus Cannons to wrap up the day will be on ESPN2. But we've got Chaos taking on the Redwoods in the first game of the weekend. Chaos as the 5 seed, Redwoods as the 4. The series was split 1-1 throughout the regular season. First time that these two teams met was week 4. Redwoods got a nice little 13-8 win in that game. Do have to remember Blaze Reardon did not play in that game. So Austin Kaut, friend of the program, love the guy to death, but does kind of change the complexion of that Chaos team if Blaze isn't in net. So Redwoods got a 13-8 win in that game. Then they met again in the beginning of August, and Chaos came out with a close one, 14-12. So series split, although the first game does have a little bit of an asterisk. Chaos obviously coming into this game nice and juiced. Redwoods, luckily they were kind of able to get themselves going against the Atlas last week in Salt Lake City. But before that, it's just been a kind of a little, luckily they closed out the season with Chrome and Atlas. So you couldn't ask for much more to get themselves going before the playoffs, because leading up to that, things were getting a little dicey for them there for a while. So Doogs, how do you feel about Chaos Redwoods game 1, 11-25?
I think Chaos win this one. Their team built for September. I don't really think the Redwoods are very efficient or very good. I said that I'd walk if someone said the Redwoods are winning it all. I said I'd walk home. I'd bike home from Philly if the Redwoods win the championship, and I'm sticking to that. They're the one team that I just cannot see them at all raising a trophy. I think the Chaos are gonna win this pretty easily. Spread's probably -1.5. Take that.
Yeah, I think they're such a playoff team. They're such and they're mean, they're nasty. Redwoods have mean and nasty guys playing pole for them, but I don't know. I just think that this Chaos team thrives in the playoffs. They're just able to kind of ramp up the intensity, and it's really tough for a lot of teams to match that intensity. Redwoods, they've been getting a little chippy lately, right? Like we've seen Rob Pennell get into some face mask holding matches. Ryder's never a guy who's going to shy away from that type of stuff. They've got a Kirst on the roster. So anytime you can bring a Kirst to a party, you know that you've got a little bit of meat on your side. I know that Nestler's in the background there, just loving that. But I do think, Chaos, they've proven it year after year. This is a team that their season doesn't end until, they're one of the last couple standing.
Yeah. And I also think that goaltending's huge to win a championship. I'm not breaking news here, but that guy Blaze they have in net, it's pretty good. I'd like to have him on my team. So, yeah, I think Chaos could actually give Archers a run for their money, more so than the Redwoods could. So I'm going with the Chouse.
Yeah. So going to be tough we'll see what the numbers end up shaking out to be. I'm sure that Andy Towers wishes that there were only 3.8%
I'm looking right
picking
now
them to win, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm actually doing that right now. I'm trying to fill out a bracket so I can see if they give us the percentages.
Well, as you're doing that, second game of the day, we've got Whip Snakes and Water Dogs. So Doogs, as he mentioned in the beginning of the episode, right off the hop, that he's got Water Dogs repeating as champs this year. So obviously we're going to know where he sides on this game. These two teams, they only played once this season. That was back July 14th. Water Dogs came out with a 16-13 win. Whips, they come out, they got kind of tossed around a little bit by the Cannons last week, but I don't really think that they were playing for much last week. If anything, they were really playing to lose, because that Jim Stagnita didn't want to end up as the 4 seed, didn't want to have to deal with championship series again this coming winter. But I don't know. I feel like the Whips they've proven themselves over the years that you don't want to count them out, but drawing the Water Dogs in this first round of the playoffs might be a little too much of an order to deal with for them. Water Dogs are just elite all over the field. Great goaltending with Dylan Ward. They've got unbelievable pulls. They've got just an attack unit that, I think I want to say Kieran McCardle might have had, he had like 7 points this late. Let me see if I can go back.
It's disgusting. I'll finish off your thought. Yeah.
So that was the game in Fairfield. And that was when Kieran, just the most nonchalant 7-point game. I think it was 2 goals and 5 assists. So yeah, you're going to have to either outperform him or stop him. And it's extremely difficult to do either of those. I think, you're going to get a big game out of Rambo. You're going to get a big game out of Zed Williams, but is that going to be enough in 2023 to outperform Michael Sowers and Kieran McCardle? I don't think so.
I also just want to say just about the Water Dogs, they have the best midfield offensively in the league. And dare I say, and I know the Cannons have the two short stick team middies of the year. I'm going to go short stick defensive unit also. Water Dogs are the most complete team. You could make the argument that Dylan's playing the best out of any goaltender in the league right now.
Well, he's got dad strength and sweatpants.
So I'm taking the Water Dogs to win it all, repeat. I think for my money, they are the most complete team in the league. I think the Cannons are right there too. I think the Archers just have the star power. I'm not like just from a pure efficiency and complete team standpoint. I just can't really see the Cannons doing it. This is coming from a Cannons guy myself. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Water Dogs. And here's the numbers: the fan bracket breakdown. Archers 45.9%, Atlas 1.4%, Cannons 23.4%, Chaos 48. I'm just gonna pull this shit up. No one's gonna remember these little numbers. Share screen. Do you see that?
We've got a little loading circle right now. All right, there we go. All right, 4.8%. So that's still going to piss off the Chaos a little bit here.
I'm shocked by the whipsticks only getting 2.4%. I have 3 futures. I have 1 preseason future. Are we frozen?
No. Unless
we got. I put a preseason future on the Archers. I took the whipsticks when they were like the last team, like the lowest odds I've ever been. And then I just took the Water Dogs before the playoffs. So, I mean, it's like basically like half the fucking format, but got to get good numbers as a gambler, not as a expert.
Yeah. Do we have, speaking of gambling, do we have any numbers on this game?
Yeah, I can look it up right now.
Because I do like, again, I don't ever want to count out the whip snakes when it comes to the playoffs. I think that
plus 1.5 for the whip snakes, minus 134, plus 116 on the money line.
Yeah. So I definitely see Water Dogs coming out on top of this one. I see it being a no pun intended, a dogfight though. There's a whip snakes team that, again, they got embarrassed in the championship series this past winter. They've had a slow start to the season this year. Like, I think that they're going to want to kind of fight back against the notion that maybe the whips are washed. There might be a little whips are washed kind of rumblings out there, and they're going to want to fight back against that. They're going to do, they have enough to keep this nice and close with the Water Dogs. I think it's going to be definitely the best game of the weekend. So I could see that being a 1-goal game. I won't go ahead and count the whip snakes that much out, but I would say Water Dogs come out on top because, again, they're just so loaded all over the field. Goaltending, give them the edge there. At the very least, attack is a wash. And then midfield unit, got to go with the Dogs. So Water Dogs on top.
Yeah, the only difference I think that I'd go Water Dogs better at every position, and then I think that the best game of the weekend, in my opinion, would be game number 1, Chaos Redwoods. But yeah, that's hearsay. There's going to be great lacrosse all weekend. You should better watch all 3 games.
Yeah, well, the third game, and I really do hope that it is. I really hope that this is a great game just because it's going to be nationally televised. It's on ESPN2, 5 p.m. on Labor Day Monday. We've got the 7-seed Atlas. They limped their way into the playoffs, and they'll be taking on the Cannons as the 2-seed. Cannons, they won this season series 2 games to none. Already mentioned this, but they won in week 4, 19-12, and then they won a couple weeks ago, week 9, 14-13. I like your assessment. I probably agree with it where, like, if I close my eyes and I'm trying to picture like all these teams winning a championship. I just don't see it when I close my eyes for the Cannons. I think that they are an incredible story for this summer, but just not legitimate championship contenders. But I don't see them slipping up in this game. I see them being a semifinal team and then ending up losing a heartbreaker to get a chance to play in Philly. But I mean, I just think with the offensive firepower that this team has, whether it's coming from Marcus Holman, whether it's coming from Asher Nolting, or whether it's coming from a guy like Ethan Rawl, who's not even an offensive player, but I just think with how much and how often these guys score, Atlas, not a very strong defensive team, not a great goaltending team this summer so far. So it's just going to be too much firepower for the Atlas to keep up with, even though on paper their offense is dirty.
Yeah, Cannons -1.5. I'll put up my official plays on Thursday or Friday, but yeah, I just want to touch on this. It's the Cannons are so good. The only reason I don't have them raising the trophy is because I think a really good team is going to lose to a really good team. It's not because I think the Cannons are bad. I think that they're really good, but like I think the Water Dogs matchup is pretty bad for them. I think I'll give the upper hand to goalie and goal to them. I know Nestler's probably punching his wall right now listening to this, but yeah, I think Dylan Ward's a better goalie than Colin Kirst. I don't think it's a hot take. Yeah, that's really all I got. I think Cannons kind of smoke Atlas.
Yeah, it's
Atlas,
just one
like
of those...
first half, maybe Atlas show some guts. But I you know what I saw? It's funny actually. Craig Chick just got picked up by the Cannons because Matt Reese is out. So like Craig Chick legacy game coming up. Like he's he's one of those guys I thought could go up for LSM of the year. So the fact that the Cannons just keep on picking up the Atlas trash, or not even trash, just turning it into treasure, Craig Chick's going to be the reason the Cannons do win it all if they do.
Yeah. Just some really head scratching moves by Mike Pressler all summer long. And hopefully we see that one come back to bite him a little bit. Totally agree. I think, Cannons running into a buzzsaw Water Dogs team in the semifinals. It's just a team that's been there before versus a team that's that's just kind of buzzing at the right time. But like the way I see the Cannons this year, and I don't know, maybe I'm not giving them enough. They're just they're a movie plot team, right? Like they're an underdog story, but I feel like a lot of those movies about an underdog, whether it's Rocky or whether almost like Moneyball, right? The whole movie is revolving around this team, this Oakland A's team that at the end of the day weren't actually going to win shit. They were just a really fun story to root for. So I don't know. They're the 2 seed. They're a great team. They have the ability to get by there. I just don't see it happening. I just see the Cannons being that team that, wow, they were really fun to root for this summer, but then they run into a team like the Water Dogs in the semifinals, and it's just this team's the Water Dogs are proven, and they're able to get it done. And at some point, maybe vibes will kind of run out a little bit for Cannons.
I will say this: if they get by the Water Dogs, I think they're raising the trophy. I just don't see them by the Dogs. I can't in any world see them getting by the Dogs. If they do, they prove me wrong, and why can they prove me wrong in Philly?
All right. Yeah. Well, what if the Whip Snakes? So you got them over the Whip Snakes, I'd imagine.
I do have them over the Whip Snakes, yeah.
All right. And then trying to
Archers
think.
Too. Chaos, yep. Any other team, it's for me, it's Water Dogs 1A, and then
All right. Well, so then that means really
the only thing that worries
me. So the 220 game on Monday really determines your champion for 2023. So if the Water Dogs win, you've got them as your champion. If the Water Dogs lose, and that means Cannons will be your 2023 PLL champs of the world.
Yeah, I think the only person. Now I just feel like I'm picking every team, but I could you could talk yourself into the Chaos just make the championship against anybody. Blaze just steals a game.
Yeah, and I mean,
people just forget that happens.
Yeah, and then you can never count out the Redwoods for winning the championship, and you can't be.
Fuck that. I'm out on the Redwoods. I think it's the only team Redwoods I'm out on. If they win, I said a couple Philly.
And then you can never be surprised if the Whip Snakes end up winning again. And then you know what? Hey, even the Atlas could win it. You know, I think if you talked to us at the beginning of the season, we could have said, "Hey, Jeff Atlas." MVP. Yep. So I mean,
imagine your preseason. Was that your preseason pick? What a story that would be, though. Could you imagine just I told you so that some people would have like Atlas beginning of the year winning the championship, and they go on a run and just like told you so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the tape on that one. I know that I've been an Atlas guy. I've also been an Archers guy, but I feel like I talked myself almost out of the Archers this year because I've always been such a. Or maybe no, you know what? I said that this was. I said that this was the prove it year for the Archers. I said that this was the show me year for them, that they have to make something happen or else they'll be considered frauds for the rest of eternity. So they still have to prove it, right? Regular, like we've seen them have great regular seasons before. They just have to prove it in the playoffs. So, do we want to bring in Nestler? Does he have anything for the Nestler minute?
Yeah, baby, I'm here. First off, seems like a lot of Kirst slander coming from you guys. Might be a little personal. I'm not saying it's
shit.
I don't know. It just
say it.
I don't know. From what I'm hearing, there's a lot of Nestlers in the back. We're gonna have to run the tape back.
I literally said if you have a Kirst out there that's extra.
I'm wrong. All right, maybe I'm getting in my own head, but it just seems like there's a little. I don't know. We're getting to the playoffs. The Kirst shine brightest in the brightest moments. Like now, the train's just getting going on the Kirst family.
That's a good point. How many championships do the Kirst have together as a family? NCAA championships. I know 4 off the top of my head.
The Kirst family does not have an NCAA trophy in their repertoire.
I was just checking.
But track record shows they're going to show up. You'll see it. Either way, I take it back if there was no slander. I thought I heard a little something, but we'll sweep under the rug. That one's on me. That one's on Intern Nest. To the Kirst of the week. So for the first time ever, we are going all Kirst of the week. But what order are they going to be in? We have first honorable mention Colin Kirst. 14 saves. He does it week in, week out. He shows up. He gets wins. He led in a couple from his older brother. Our other honorable mention, Connor Kirst, scores a 2 bomb on the younger brother and dips and dunks on one from a little closer. Scoring 3 points on your younger brother's got to feel good. They both had a big smile on their face after the game. Got to love to see that. And for a second ever Kirst of the week, dropping 5 goals in the season finale, Coley motherfucking Kirst. He's back, number 47. He loves to score, but he loves to pass the ball more. 3 assists. I was out on the Redwoods early. I actually had a call with Cole Kirst the other day when he saw Zach Wilson at Dick's. I gave him a call. I said, listen, Coley, I'm rooting against you. I'm rooting for Colin. I'm not your mom. I don't have to root for all you guys. I'm rooting for Colin. I'm in Colin's corner. I'm rooting for the Cannons. I'll be supporting the Whips in the woods till they play the Cannons. But when they play those Cannons, I'm going against you. So congrats, Coley Kirst. Thank you guys for the minute. And don't forget to read your books.
Yeah, what book do you have there, Ness?
This is actually The Great Gatsby.
Sophomore year of high school?
This
F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Scott Fitzgerald, the legend Fitzgerald. No relation to Larry. But yeah. Got to always make sure you got your books on you. This is where I keep my notes. I scribble. I had everything in there.
No, 2 great rounders, Matt Fitzgerald and F. Scott Fitzgerald. People forget that.
People do. And potentially Matt Nestler. The world may never know.
All right, Ness. Great work, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, my God. And that's
people on audio must be like
that's why you need to subscribe to the YouTube. Oh my God. If you're not watching this on YouTube right now, you're missing out. You're missing out. Let's get those. It's the playoffs, baby. We're talking about the playoffs. Let's get those numbers up. Subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your families. If any of you out there, maybe you're a freshman playing fall ball for the first time, right? You tell all your teammates, hey, you guys subscribe to the Crease Dive on YouTube yet? Like, that'll be a great way to make sure that all the boys in the locker room love you. If you give them the little heads up to subscribe on YouTube, let's get those numbers up, because if you're not watching on YouTube, you're missing little moments like that. All right. So Doogs, anything else as we, I will say that the Monday slate of game, kind of nice. I'm glad that it's not on Sunday. I think that this will be a nice little wrap up to Labor Day weekend, even Monday, though it would have been better if it was a championship. Totally agree. But glad that they didn't hit us with this for a Saturday or Sunday slate.
Yeah. I mean, Monday will be fun. Come say hi to me at Gillette. I'll be all alone, so I need some friends. Come make a friend. Come be a friend.
Is there going to be a bar down beer garden at Gillette, or are they? Are the rules in Massachusetts weird like that?
Stay tuned. That's why you follow us on all our socials.
Great tease. All right. So make sure that you are following us we are at the Crease Dive on Twitter and Instagram. Again, subscribe for the YouTube, Stool Crease Dive on TikTok too. Let's get those numbers up as well. Do we still have that one guy running the TikTok, or?
I just didn't make clips last week, but yeah, we're still doing clips. It was like I was going to put out clips for games that were in 6 hours.
All right. Well, follow us there, and make sure you guys are following along. 3 games all on Monday, 11:45 a.m., 2:20 p.m., 5 p.m. Eastern. And in the meantime, we'll be keeping it low to high till the day we die. We out.